There exists something so powerful within each of us, a profound intelligence that operates beyond the boundaries of our physical form. While our bodies may forget their limitations, while our minds may deny the inevitable, the soul carries within it an ancient wisdom that knows exactly when the time has come to release its earthly vessel and journey onward. This sacred knowing doesn't emerge from fear or resignation, but from the deepest recognition of the soul's eternal nature. Like a flower that instinctively knows when to bloom and when to release its petals to the wind, the soul possesses an innate understanding of life's perfect timing that transcends our conscious awareness. The body forgets many things as it ages. It forgets the suppleness of youth, the clarity of perfect vision, the strength that once seemed limitless. But these forgettings are not failures. They are gentle invitations from the universe, subtle reminders that our true essence was never dependent on physical form. The soul observes these changes not with sadness, but with the patience of one who has traveled many roads and knows that every journey has its natural conclusion. What the medical world calls decline, the soul recognizes as preparation. What others might label as deterioration, the awakened consciousness understands as refinement. The soul is not diminished by the body's forgetting. Rather, it becomes more present, more aware, more connected to the eternal truth of its being as earthly attachments naturally loosen their grip. In the mysterious dance between body and soul, there comes a moment when these two aspects of our existence begin to communicate in ways that bypass the rational mind. The body may forget where it placed the keys, but the soul remembers every lesson learned, every love shared, every moment of grace experienced across the span of this lifetime. The soul's first recognition of approaching transition manifests through a profound shift in the perception of time itself. Those who experience this sacred knowing often describe waking with an inexplicable sense that each moment has become precious beyond measure, not because time is running out, but because time has revealed its true nature as a gift to be savored rather than hurried through. This isn't the anxious clock watching of someone with a deadline to meet. It's the gentle awareness of someone who has been given a glimpse behind the veil of ordinary existence. You may find yourself pausing longer at sunsets, listening more intently to loved ones' voices, or feeling moved to tears by simple beauty that you previously took for granted. The soul knows that linear time is an illusion of physical existence. When it begins to prepare for its journey beyond form, it starts to experience time as the eternal now that it truly is. Minutes may feel like hours of perfect presence, while days seem to flow together in a seamless river of experience. This temporal shift isn't confusion, it's clarity. The soul is remembering its natural state of being, where past, present, and future merge into the eternal moment of pure consciousness. Many who experience this temporal awakening report looking at photographs from their past with a curious detachment, as if viewing scenes from someone else's life. Not because they've forgotten, but because they've gained the perspective to see their entire earthly journey as a single, complete story. The soul is gathering the threads of this lifetime, weaving them into a tapestry of meaning that it will carry forward into whatever comes next. As the soul prepares for its transition, it begins to shed the accumulated layers of earthly identity with the same natural grace that a tree releases its leaves in autumn. This process, which we might call the Great Simplification, emerges not from loss, but from the profound recognition of what truly matters. You may find yourself giving away possessions that once seemed essential, not because you no longer love them, but because you've discovered that love itself cannot be contained in objects. The soul understands that it cannot carry material things across the threshold between worlds, so it begins the gentle process of releasing its attachments to the temporal in favor of embracing the eternal. This simplification extends beyond material possessions to encompass the very structure of daily life. Complex routines may give way to simple pleasures. Ambitious plans may dissolve into present moment awareness. The soul knows that it is preparing for the ultimate simplification, the release of all that is not essential to its core being. What emerges from this process is not emptiness, but fullness. As external complexities fall away, inner richness becomes more apparent. The soul's light, no longer diffused through the countless distractions of ordinary life, begins to shine with increasing clarity and warmth. Those around you may notice a certain luminosity in your presence, a depth of peace that seems to emanate from some inexhaustible source within. The body may forget the details of complicated procedures or the names of distant acquaintances, but the soul remembers with perfect clarity the essence of every meaningful connection it has made. It knows which relationships have served its growth, which experiences have deepened its understanding, and which moments have revealed glimpses of divine truth. In the sacred space between sleeping and waking, the soul begins to receive visitors from beyond the veil. These are not products of imagination or wishful thinking, but genuine encounters with the consciousness of those who have completed their earthly journeys and now serve as guides for your own approaching transition. These nocturnal reunions carry a quality of reality that differs fundamentally from ordinary dreams. The departed appear not as memories frozen in time, but as living presences radiating health, joy, and profound love. They come not to frighten or to herald doom, but to offer reassurance and companionship for the journey that lies ahead. Your grandmother may appear, looking as she did in her prime, extending her hand with a smile that conveys more than words ever could. A childhood friend who passed too young might visit, their presence filled with the wisdom gained through their own transition. These encounters often involve simple gestures, familiar laughter, or the sharing of memories that bring comfort and connection. What makes these visitations particularly sacred is their timing. They tend to arrive when the soul is most ready to receive them, when the barrier between worlds has grown thin enough to allow for this divine communication. The messages they bring are always ones of love, acceptance, and preparation. They come to remind you that you are not alone in this process, that a community of souls awaits your arrival on the other side. The soul recognizes these visitors as members of its eternal family, beings with whom it has shared countless experiences across many lifetimes. The reunion that takes place in dreams is a preview of the greater reunion that awaits when the time for physical departure arrives. This knowing brings a profound sense of homecoming, a recognition that death is not an ending but a return to the loving embrace of those who have been waiting patiently for your journey to complete itself. As the soul prepares for its transition, the boundaries between the seen and unseen worlds begin to blur. What others might dismiss as hallucinations or signs of mental decline, the soul recognizes as the awakening of divine sight, the ability to perceive the spiritual dimensions that surround us always, but are typically hidden from ordinary awareness. You may begin to see figures of light moving through your peripheral vision, sense the presence of angelic beings, or perceive luminous energies surrounding certain people or places. These glimpses into the spiritual realm are not symptoms of illness, but signs of the soul's expanding consciousness as it prepares to return to its natural state of being. The soul knows that physical death is not the cessation of existence, but the removal of the veil that temporarily obscured its true nature. As this veil begins to thin, the soul starts to remember its divine heritage, its connection to the infinite source of all life. Colors may appear more vivid, sounds more melodious, and touch more electric as the soul's perception expands beyond the limitations of physical senses. These experiences often bring a profound sense of wonder and recognition. You may find yourself saying, "I remember this," even though you cannot recall when or where you encountered these spiritual realities before. The soul is awakening to its true home, the dimension of pure consciousness from which it originally emerged and to which it will return. Those who witness these expanding perceptions in their loved ones are invited to receive them not with worry, but with reverence. The soul that is preparing for transition has been granted a precious gift, a preview of the glorious reality that awaits beyond the threshold of physical existence. To honor these experiences is to honor the sacred journey that every soul must eventually undertake. As the soul approaches its time of departure, it experiences what can only be described as a forgiveness imperative, an overwhelming urge to heal all wounds, resolve all conflicts, and release all burdens of resentment or guilt. This is not merely an emotional healing, but a spiritual necessity, for the soul understands that it cannot carry the weight of unforgiveness across the threshold between worlds. You may find yourself reaching out to estranged family members, writing letters to those who hurt you, or feeling moved to apologize for your own past mistakes. This process unfolds with a sense of divine timing and grace, as if the universe itself is orchestrating these opportunities for reconciliation. The soul knows that love is the only currency that has value in the spiritual realm, and it seeks to exchange all its holdings of pain and resentment for the pure gold of forgiveness. Sometimes this forgiveness work happens internally, especially when the other party is no longer available or willing to participate in the healing process. The soul performs its own ceremony of release, letting go of old grievances with the same natural ease that a flower releases its fragrance to the wind. What matters is not the response of others, but the soul's own liberation from the chains of unforgiveness. This process often brings surprising gifts. Ancient hurts may suddenly make sense when viewed from the soul's elevated perspective. Painful experiences may reveal themselves as necessary catalysts for growth and compassion. The soul sees the perfect orchestration of events that led to its expansion and awakening, recognizing even its wounds as sacred initiations into deeper wisdom. The forgiveness imperative extends to self-forgiveness, perhaps the most challenging aspect of the spiritual cleansing. The soul recognizes that it incarnated not to be perfect, but to learn, grow, and evolve through experience. Every mistake, every failure, every moment of unconsciousness is revealed as part of the divine curriculum that shaped the soul's journey toward greater love and understanding. In the final chapters of the soul's earthly sojourn, there emerges a profound desire to share its accumulated wisdom with those who will remain. This isn't mere nostalgia or the rambling of an aging mind, but a sacred transmission of the soul's deepest learnings, its most precious insights about the nature of existence and the meaning of love. You may find yourself speaking truths that surprise even you, offering guidance that seems to flow from a source deeper than your personal experience. Stories from your past may carry new meaning, revealing layers of wisdom that were invisible at the time they were lived. The soul is distilling the essence of its earthly journey, transforming raw experience into refined understanding that can serve as a gift to others. This wisdom transmission often takes unexpected forms. A casual conversation may become a profound teaching moment. A simple gesture may carry the weight of lifetimes of learning. The soul knows that its departure will leave a void in the lives of those it loves, and it seeks to fill that space with the treasures of insight it has gathered along the way. The body may forget the details of recent conversations, but the soul remembers every lesson learned, every truth discovered, every moment of revelation that illuminated the path of its growth. It draws upon this vast reservoir of experience to offer exactly what each listener needs to hear, speaking to their souls in the language that will most deeply resonate with their own journey. Those who receive these transmissions often report feeling blessed, as if they have been entrusted with something precious and sacred. The soul's wisdom carries the authority of lived experience, the credibility of one who has walked the path and emerged with understanding. These final teachings become lasting gifts, seeds of wisdom that will continue to grow and bear fruit long after the soul has completed its earthly journey. As the soul prepares for its ultimate transition, it enters the phase of the great letting go, a process of releasing not just physical attachments, but the very identity that has defined its earthly existence. This is not a loss, but a liberation, the soul's recognition that it is so much more than the roles it has played, the relationships it has maintained, or the achievements it has accumulated. You may find yourself speaking about your life in the past tense, as if you are already viewing it from the perspective of completion. This doesn't indicate confusion or depression, but rather the soul's natural detachment from the temporary identities that served its purpose during its earthly sojourn. The loving mother, the dedicated professional, the faithful friend. These roles were costumes worn by the soul for the duration of its earthly play, but they are not the soul's true nature. The great letting go extends to the body itself, which the soul begins to perceive as a beloved but temporary home that has served its purpose well. There may be a growing sense of the body as something separate from the self, a vessel that has carried the soul's consciousness through its earthly adventures, but is now ready to be gratefully released. This process often brings a profound sense of freedom and lightness. The soul recognizes that it has never truly been bound by the limitations of physical existence, that it has always been a free and eternal being, temporarily focused through the lens of human experience. The body may forget its strength, its coordination, its ability to perform familiar tasks, but the soul remembers its infinite nature, its connection to the divine source of all life. Family members and friends may feel confused or saddened by this letting go, interpreting it as withdrawal or abandonment, but the soul knows that this detachment is necessary for the transition it is preparing to make. It loves no less deeply, but it loves with the freedom of one who recognizes that true love transcends physical form and will continue beyond the boundaries of earthly existence. In the deepest chambers of the soul's awareness, there arises a call that cannot be ignored, a summons from the very source of its being. This is not a voice that speaks in words, but a recognition that resonates in the core of consciousness itself. The soul hears the call of home, the invitation to return to the realm of pure love and light from which it originally emerged. This call may manifest as an inexplicable yearning, a longing for something that cannot be named or described in earthly terms. You may find yourself gazing at the sky with a sense of homesickness for a place you cannot remember visiting, yet which feels more familiar than any earthly location. The soul is responding to the magnetic pull of its true home, the dimension of divine consciousness where it belongs. The call of home brings with it a profound sense of rightness, a recognition that the time for earthly service is drawing to a close and the time for reunion with the source is approaching. This isn't a rejection of earthly life, but a graduation from it, the soul's acknowledgement that it has learned what it came to learn and is ready to return to its eternal dwelling place. Sometimes this call is accompanied by visions or dreams of incredible beauty, glimpses of the paradise that awaits beyond the threshold of physical existence. These previews of home carry such reality and power that they make earthly existence seem pale and insubstantial by comparison. The soul recognizes these visions as memories of its true state, reminders of the bliss and perfection that constitute its natural environment. The body may resist this call, clinging to the familiar patterns of earthly existence, but the soul knows that resistance is futile and ultimately unnecessary. The call of home is not a demand, but an invitation, extended with infinite patience and love. When the soul is ready to answer, the transition will unfold with the same natural grace that governs all the great movements of existence. As the soul approaches its time of departure, it begins the sacred preparation for its journey beyond the veil. This is not a fearful process, but a celebration, the soul's recognition that it is about to embark on the greatest adventure of its existence. Like a bride preparing for her wedding day, the soul adorns itself with the beauty of its earthly learnings and the radiance of its accumulated love. You may find yourself engaged in rituals of completion, activities that serve to tie up the loose ends of your earthly story. This might involve writing letters to loved ones, organizing possessions, or creating some form of legacy that will continue to serve others after your departure. The soul knows that while it cannot take material things with it, it can leave behind gifts of love, wisdom, and inspiration that will bless those who remain. The sacred preparation often includes a review of the soul's earthly journey, a gentle contemplation of the path that has led to this moment of transition. This review is not a judgment but a celebration, the soul's recognition of how perfectly every experience has served its growth and evolution. Even the most painful chapters of life are seen through the lens of divine purpose, understood as necessary elements in the soul's curriculum of love. There may be a sense of putting your affairs in order, not out of obligation, but out of love for those who will remain. The soul understands that its departure will create a void in the lives of those it loves, and it seeks to minimize the practical difficulties they may face. This preparation is an act of service, a final gift of consideration and care. The body may seem to be failing, but the soul has never been more alive, more aware, more connected to the source of its being. It recognizes that what others perceive as decline is actually the soul's increasing luminosity as it prepares to shed the constraints of physical form and return to its natural state of unbounded consciousness. In the final moments of the soul's earthly journey, There descends a peace that surpasses all understanding, a serenity so profound that it transforms not only the one who experiences it, but all who witness its sacred presence. This is not the peace of resignation, but the peace of recognition, the soul's joyful acknowledgement that it is about to return to the source of all peace, all love, all wisdom. The body may forget how to perform the simplest functions, but the soul remembers its eternal nature with perfect clarity. It knows that it has never been separate from the divine source, that the illusion of separation maintained during earthly existence is about to dissolve like morning mist before the rising sun. The peace that fills the soul is the peace of coming home, the bliss of returning to the loving embrace of the infinite. This eternal peace often radiates outward, touching the lives of all who come into contact with the departing soul. Family members may find themselves experiencing moments of unexpected serenity. Healthcare providers may feel moved by the profound dignity of the transition, and even strangers may sense the sacred nature of what is taking place. The soul's peace becomes a blessing that extends far beyond the boundaries of individual experience. There may be moments of apparent struggle as the body fights to maintain its familiar patterns, but the soul observes these final contractions with compassion and understanding. It knows that the body is simply doing what bodies do, holding on to the life it has known. But the soul also knows that when the time is right, the release will come with effortless grace, like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. The eternal peace carries with it a quality of completion, a sense that the soul's earthly mission has been fulfilled. Every lesson has been learned, every love has been expressed, every gift has been given. The soul looks back on its human experience with gratitude and forward to its spiritual homecoming with joyful anticipation. In the ultimate moment of transition, when the soul prepares to release its earthly vessel and return to the realm of pure consciousness, all the complexities of human existence resolve into a single, overwhelming truth. Love is all. The soul recognizes that everything it has experienced, learned, and accomplished in its earthly journey was ultimately about love, learning to give it, receive it, and become it. The body forgets many things, but the soul never forgets love. It carries with it every moment of affection shared, every act of kindness witnessed, every gesture of compassion expressed. These are the treasures that the soul takes with it across the threshold, the only possessions that have true value in the realm of spirit. As the final breath is drawn and the last heartbeat echoes in the physical form, the soul experiences not an ending but a beginning. It recognizes that death is not the opposite of life but its fulfillment, not a failure but a graduation, not a loss but a homecoming. The love that the soul has learned to embody during its earthly sojourn becomes the light that guides its journey into the infinite. The body may forget, but the soul always knows. It knows when the time has come to release its earthly form and return to the source of all being. It knows that consciousness is eternal, that love is immortal, that the journey of the soul continues beyond the boundaries of physical existence. And in that knowing, there is no fear, no sadness, no regret, only the profound peace of perfect love welcoming itself home. Those who remain after the soul's departure are invited to remember this truth. The love that was shared continues to exist, the consciousness that was expressed continues to unfold, and the soul that was cherished continues its eternal journey in dimensions beyond physical perception. The body forgets, but love remembers. The form changes, but the essence endures. The soul knows, and in its knowing, it carries the promise that all souls will eventually return to the love from which they came and in which they will forever dwell.